Mr. Gill. I'm doing a persuasive speech on bunk beds. Here are my note cards. I have 2 of them. I don't have anyone to stare at, so I will look around my room if that's okay. And I'll start at 20 seconds on the video. So imagine you're a single mom that has to move out of her bigger house into an apartment, and she thinks, what am I gonna buy for my kids? Her beds from before broke, so she has to buy them new beds. And she looks at her options and she says, oh, bunk beds. Now, bunk beds have been a modern staple in society because how they look and how much space they've saved. Bunk beds are usually found in children's rooms or college dorms, but in college dorms they only have a top bunk and not a bottom bunk because the bottom bunk is for a desk. Though there are many cons for bunk beds, like you have to be 6 or you'll probably get injured from it. There's weight limits, and they're hard to move around because they're bigger, and there's many injuries that could happen. 36,000 injuries happen per year because kids aren't careful. They get neck and back injuries, and they can also get bruises from not being careful. But there are many pros than cons for bunk beds. Bunk beds last a really long time. They last about 10 to 15 years, which is a really long time. Now, on average, kids usually sleep in their beds, their little kid beds, for probably maybe until they're 10, and then they grow out of it. So if you're having that bunk bed from 3 to 10, that's only 7 years. So I think it's a good deal, and they're good for sleepovers too. If your kids want to have sleepovers, their kids can go in there too. They save space, and they're good for storing things. And eventually, it's a good deal because the bunk beds, they stack, right? They can be unstacked. And if your kids decide they don't want to have bunk beds anymore, then that's perfect. They don't have to have bunk beds anymore. They can be separated. Overall, the bunk bed is probably the best choice if you're trying to save money and fit 2 kids in a bed, because it just saves space and it's helpful.